Check this.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chaotic Strategies. My name is Trav and I'm coming at you this week with another game review. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that way you guys are notified whenever I post new videos every week. Okay, this week's game review, I am reviewing Munchkin, the X-Men card game, and the Blister Expansion pack that you can buy separately for this game as well. Munchkin was invented and written by Steve Jackson. And Steve Jackson Gaming, if you guys haven't heard, it's very massive and it specializes around these Munchkin card games. So Munchkin is a role-playing game mixed with a card game, and Munchkin X-Men came out around February of 2017. Munchkin card game itself came out in 2001. Very fun. You just kind of get out of reality a little bit and dive into your role-play character that you are drawn. So the 35 card pack Deadpool, or the 35 card Blister Deadpool pack, came out in July of 2017, which I thought was great. It gave our favorite Merc with the Mouth an intro into the Munchkin game itself, so he can have some fun too.
That's why Regina rhymes with fun.
So this game is between 2 and 4 players unless you add it to another Marvel Munchkin game. So you can add these games together, which is what I really like about the Munchkin games. And if you do that, you can have up to 8 players, which is fantastic. The more people I think you get involved with these games, the more fun that you're going to have. And the whole idea is to level up your character. So you get a little character card, which I'll show you guys here in a bit once we go over to the table. Get your character card, and the first person to level up to level 10 wins the game. And there's a few different ways that you can level up. Your main way is by defeating monsters, or in this case we're going to be defeating villains within the X-Men and Deadpool universe. Or there are some cards within the game that allow you to level up without necessarily having to defeat an enemy. So you have two different things that you can do. You can kick open a door and defeat monsters there, or you can loot rooms, which I'll get into here in just a bit. And this game right now is actually on sale on Amazon for about 13 bucks. This game averages right now about $20 across the board. Everywhere that I looked, it's about $20. And the Deadpool Blister Expansion is running right around $17, $18, and I have links to both of those down in my description box. That way you can click those links, it'll take you to the Amazon website, so that way you guys can check out those games for yourself. So with that, I'm going to take you guys over to the table. I've got everything set up. I'm going to break down how the game plays, what you're supposed to do. There are a little bit of strategies that you can utilize within the game. And I'm going to tell you right now, the instructions, if you guys buy this game or already have this game, they're massive. They're huge. There's a lot of steps and a lot of different things to do in this game. So I'm going to do the best I can to break it down and simplify it for you. So that way, if you guys decide you want to play this game, you don't have to spend an hour reading the instructions first. Okay, I've already done all the hard work for you. You guys should just be able to open up the box and start playing the game. So with that, let's jump over to the table and I'll show you guys how to play. Alrighty guys, so this is kind of how the layout looks for Munchkin the X-Men card game. Now with your Deadpool expansion, you're going to go ahead and mix your expansion into your normal X-Men cards. Okay, so you have 8 different characters. Okay, so these are your character cards that got student IDs because you are a student at Xavier's School for Gifted Children, and they're double-sided. Okay, most of them have a male and female, so you get to choose whichever one that you want to be. Right now I have our female student here, and each one has different abilities and different disciplines. Okay, so, and there's no names. You can choose whatever names that you want for these students. Okay, they're not characters specific to the Marvel universe. So her discipline, she's a heavy hitter, and her special ability is you get an extra +2 when in combat alone. So when you're in combat by yourself, you get an extra +2 to the power and damage that you get to put out. So before you start the game, you shuffle both your decks. Okay, you have your door deck and then you have your loot deck, and then each player gets 4 cards of each. So you start with 8 cards in your hand. Okay, and then as you play, you can have no more than 5 cards in your hand, which we'll get to here in just a bit. So once you have all that done, you have your doors, you have everything here, and then you guys get to roll a dice and decide who goes first. And then once that player goes, it's to the left. You go around going clockwise. So everybody starts at level 1. Okay, so when it's your turn, you can choose out of your 8 cards to equip certain cards to your character. So you have one-shot cards that can only be used once, and those can only be used during combat. They'll specifically say down at the bottom when you can use them and when you can't. And these black cards here, these are all monster cards. So I have a level 8 Shikla, I have a level 10 Lady Deadpool, I have a level 12 Evil Deadpool, and a level 14 Ajax. Now these monster cards you can play to add to a combat if you want to. So if another player is in combat, you can add another one to there, so that way they have to defeat more monsters, okay? And each monster also has a bad stuff, okay? And what that is if you can't beat that monster and you have to retreat, this is what happens. So at the level 14 Ajax, if you can't beat Ajax, you lose a power and a level. If you have no powers, you may draw a door card. Okay, so if you can't beat Ajax and you have to run away, not only do you lose a power that was equipped to your student, but you also lose a level as well. So before we start, I'm going to go ahead and equip Shatterstar's blades to my student. So it's already a +3 bonus, so she's going to be, if she goes into combat by herself, she'll be at a +5, and then you gain an extra +2 against monsters level 10 and higher. So going level 10 and higher, I'd be at +7. So I'm going to go ahead and equip that bonus card to her. So your first step going in, after you've equipped your affiliates and all that, which we'll get into here in just a bit, your first step is to kick the door open. So you're going to draw the top card from the door deck and turn it face up. So this is our door deck, so we're going to go ahead, draw that, and turn it face up. So we have a level 8 Sabretooth, and his combat bonuses played on him are worth an extra +2. So if somebody has a combat bonus, they can place that on Sabretooth to make him harder for you to beat. And that's the beauty about this game. Other players can interact with your combat and you can interact with theirs as well. Right now, if I go into battle alone, I'm already at a +5. So he's at a level 8, so I don't get the +2 since he's not level 10 or higher. Now, if it got to the point where I could not beat this monster, I can ask another player for help or bribe them for help. So if I were to bribe them, I could offer them some loot out of the card or out of what I would get for beating that monster. I can offer them one of the equip cards or something that I have in my hand. Okay. Now if we beat that monster, they do not get to level up. Only you get to level up. So in this case, I wouldn't ask for help because I can beat Sabretooth. So we'll just go, if I beat Sabretooth, here at the very bottom, it'll say treasures. It's kind of hard to see in the camera, but there's a little yellow box there. So by beating him, I get 2 treasures. So we'll beat him, we'll put him in the discard over here, and then I will draw 2 treasure cards. So I have Adamantium Claws and Cable's Arsenal, which are both good equip cards, and you can only have 3 equip cards on your student at any given time. So then I'm going to choose to equip both of them to my student. So now I have a +3 on my student, a +2 for Cable's Arsenal, and I get an extra +2 if I have no powers, and then I have +4 for my claws. And since I don't have any powers, that +2 stays in effect. So going into phase 2, if you fought a monster in phase 1, you're going to go ahead and skip this phase. Normally, if you didn't draw a monster when you kicked open the door, you have 2 choices. You can either look for trouble or you can loot the room. So if you look for trouble, you can play a monster card from your hand and fight it just as if you had found it by kicking open the door. Don't play a monster you can't handle unless you think you can get some help. So if we didn't draw a monster through our kicking the door down phase, we could play one of the 4 monsters that we have in our hand, as long as we were strong enough to take it down. Or we could loot the room. If you don't have a monster you want to fight, you draw a second card from the door deck face down and place it in your hand. If it's a monster, you can save it for later, either to fight when you look for trouble, or join a combat by using a wandering monster card. So if you have a wandering monster card, you can play it. So then we go into our third and final phase, which is charity. If you have more than 5 cards in your hand, you must play enough cards to get you to 5 or below. If you cannot or do not want to, you must give the excess cards to the player with the lowest level. If players are tied for the lowest, divide the cards as evenly as possible, but it's up to you who gets the bigger leftovers. If you are the lowest level on the field, just discard the excess cards. Okay, so since we won that battle, we're going to go up to level 2, and I still have 7 cards in my hand. So then I would have to disperse between the other 3 players what I wanted to get. And honestly, I want to keep my one-shot cards with me the best that I can. So I'm going to give out 3 of my monster cards, which are going to be the higher level ones. So I'm going to give out my level 12, 13s, and 10s to another player, is how I would do it, because I want to lock them down the best that I can. And then it's going to go on from there. It goes to the next player. Now the next player, they draw, okay, they drew a level 7 monster card, which is Mystique, and her ability is going to be no one may help you fight her. It's +3 against males and -2 against females. So our opponent cannot ask anybody for help, but they go, I don't want my opponent to level up. Your opponent is going to obviously boost their student as well, and I don't want them to be able to beat Mystique. So I'm going to play a one-shot card on Mystique. So it's a 2+ bonus to either side, and you can only play during combat, usable only 1. And just to make it a little bit harder, I'm also going to play another one-shot card, giving her a +5. So that's going to boost Mystique up to a +7. So hopefully my opponent has no choice but to run away. And if they do run away, the bad stuff happens. No one believes it is really you. You cannot offer to help or ask for help in combat until you go up a level. And then they are not able to pull a treasure, and it goes to the next person. So that's pretty much how you play the game. Now you also have affiliate cards. Your affiliates get attached to your student as well, but it's going to be separate. It doesn't count towards your 3. Your affiliate is who you're going to stick with for the rest of the game. Okay, so you can also draw trap cards. Okay, so your trap cards are going to be in red. And this one is called Bovine Phobia. This is part of our Deadpool expansion, and you get -5 in your next combat, and the next time you attempt to run away, you automatically fail. Keep this in front of you as a reminder. So if you drew this card, you're going to lose 5 in your next combat. So those are your traps. Your traps can hurt or help you, or if you have them in your hand, you can use them against other players as well to try to keep them down a level. So your affiliate cards look like this. Like this is X-Force. So each of your hand items is worth an additional +1. So having X-Force as my affiliate, each of my hand items here would gain an additional +1. So Shatterstar's blades are going to be +3, Cable's Arsenal or +4, Cable's Arsenal +3, Adamantium Claws +5. And then once per combat, you may discard a card to give either side +2. So if you're helping somebody, you can discard a card, give them an additional +2 to help them win the game. And then last but not least, we also have power cards, which are going to be purple. So this one is a +1 bonus, and you have a power rank of 1. So telepathy, you can discard 1 card from your hand at any time to see all of the cards in any one player's hand. So that's good, so that way you know what you're kind of playing against with some of your opponents. So, and that's pretty much the gist of the game. You can either help the bad guys or help one of your other players that are playing in combat. And some of the strategies that you can utilize, you know, obviously you don't want to be against everybody, because if you come up against a monster that you can't handle, you want the help. So you kind of want to try to make allies as much as you can to help level you up faster. But at the same time, if somebody is creeping up on levels, you want to get them knocked back. Just remember, there's consequences to everything that you decide to do, which is what I love about this game. You do get a dice in this game as well. Some cards require you to roll a die, especially if you're trying to run away. So when you run away, you have to roll a 5 or a 6 in order to run away successfully. If not, then bad stuff happens to you. Some cards allow you to roll again, other cards don't allow you to roll at all. So again, it just depends on the chance of whatever you draw. Now you can die also. So if you're going up against a monster and you lose all of your powers and your level drops all the way back down to 1, you die. Now when you die, you can keep your powers and stuff and your affiliation equipped to you, and then the rest of the cards in your hand are able to be looted by other players. So other players get to loot your corpse, unfortunately, and then when it comes, and you cannot help in battle until it comes back around to you. Once it comes back around to you, you draw 4 more cards out of the door deck, and you draw 4 more cards out of the loot deck, and you can resume play as normal. And that's just a very quick rundown on how to play the game. Like I said, the instructions are very detailed, and it goes into detail. There are faster ways that you can also play the game as well. So like for your faster gameplay, you can add a phase 0 called listen at the door. So instead of just kicking the door open, you can listen at the door, and at the start of your turn, before doing anything, you can draw a face down door card, which you may play or not. Then arrange cards and kick the door open normally. If you loot the room, draw a face down treasure, not a door. You can also allow shared victories. If a player reaches level 10 in a fight where he had a helper, the helper also wins the game no matter what level he is. So there's a few different options that you can utilize to make the gameplay faster. Alrighty guys, and that is Munchkin X-Men. Again, the rules are very extensive. There's so many different things that you can do. I mean, I could sit here for an hour going over each and every detail of the game. That's just a very quick, basic rundown. A lot of the cards, especially if you start adding expansions, and kind of contradict the rules a little bit. So the rules specifically say always go based off what the cards say. There are certain exceptions within the rules, which are kind of extensive. And then also, if you still can't come to an agreement, you solve your problems by a lot of screaming and yelling, with the owner of the game having the final say. So if you're the owner of the game, it benefits in your favor. Again, Munchkin is very extensive. You can add Munchkin X-Men into other Munchkin Avengers and Marvel games to make them just this massive world of gaming. So again, I also have links to Munchkin X-Men and the Deadpool Blister Expansion Pack to Amazon in my description box. Go ahead and click on those. It'll take you straight to Amazon so you can check those out for yourself and purchase if you want to. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything that I can change or make better, so that way your guys' viewing experience is always top notch. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so that way you guys are always notified when I'm throwing out videos. Go ahead and check out our banner, and I will also have links in the description box to all of our social media pages: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, of course, right here on YouTube. I hope you guys are being safe out there. Wash your hands, and we'll see you in the next video.